You tune into Guzzi's World. I'm your host, GUZ, the great one left. I'm him. Himothy, him Duncan, the great Elohim. Swagger Mick Jagger, Swag Pick, Swagster and Kutcher. Keeping it real like Ian Beale. We don't care how you feel. Classes in session. Order. Guys, we're going to talk about an interesting topic today. I'm jumping in the nerd bag. I like knowledge. I like interesting topics, guys. It can't be, gossip all the time. Sometimes I like to look into other things. Is time travel possible? Will we ever see it in our time? This is what we're going to talk about. I like the idea of time travel. It gets complex, though. It does get very complex because I don't know if it's possible to go into the past, because if you went into the past and change things, then what happens to the current version of you in this future? But that's why Avengers and all them people, when they start messing with the past, there's alternate timelines and string theory, and there's endless versions of yourself doing every different possible choice you could have made, and it gets complex. But I genuinely would love to know if time travel is possible. What do you guys think? Do you think it's possible? I've got a few videos stacked up. We're going to look into it. We're going to see what people are saying. Some of it is really interesting. I've got an interesting theory off the back of one of these. But let's just get into it, guys.
Mike McCrum is a bit of a, what can I say, a genius. He's ahead of his time.
Like you?
And he's saying things that people would have said, yeah, you crazy. And he invented something called the Jacob's ladder. Like, essentially, if he threw something through it, it would disappear and, appear somewhere else.
Our wormhole.
Oh, no.
Who's that?
The Egyptians are back.
Yes, the Egyptians. Ooh.
FBI.
Who go.
Secret Service at the door. Gets arrested, brought in for questioning.
For what?
What's he up to?
Fly tipping.
What is he up to? There's loads of noise out in the garden. Neighbours are complaining that he's making this big construction. Things are disappearing. So you can't really arrest him for, creating teleportation. There's not really a law on that. So he gets released, right? And then a month later, he's missing. No one has any idea where Mike is.
He's jumped through the thing, hasn't he? No. And he's never been found.
But he would have landed at the beach.
At the beach, there's a massive steel pipe, and inside, a phone, right? And that's all was ever found, and that's last ever seen of him.
So who told this story, Lewis?
Mike McCrum.
That sounds really interesting. I haven't really looked into that Mike McCrum guy, but that would be interesting to know if that really did happen. Because, what I will say? Do your research. There's loads of people who come up with, inventions or, cures for illnesses and stuff, or, real groundbreaking technological advancements who just go missing. That happens a lot, guys. Look it up. That happens a lot. Oh, such and such has found a way to do this and that, and then they're on a plane and the plane goes missing. That kind of stuff's happening, guys. Come on. We know the elites, the Zionists, they like to monopolize. If they can't monopolize and control, they'll just get rid of you. It's what it is, man. There's too many examples of that happening. It's not all it's a coincidence. It's not, guys. But I digress.
So, did you know China banned time travel?
What do you mean?
Listen.
How is that traveling? No, that's crazy.
Exactly. So listen. So if China, right, banned time travel, made it illegal for time travel, what does that mean?
That shit is true, fam.
That means time travel is possible.
No way.
Now here's my theory.
Yeah.
What if time travel isn't something that you make with a machine, but it's something you access with your spiritual side? That's why everybody can do it, but not everybody can unlock it. Because what if a time travel machine doesn't exist? What if it's onto a different realm that we can understand in a different way?
Okay, it's fuck.
Because how would time and space translate to a machine? Feel me?
Yeah.
It wouldn't. But time and space does kind of manifest in yourself. Look, in a sense, when you dream of something that happened in the past, is that not necessarily like time travel?
Not necessarily.
But you still remember things from it. So you kind of put yourself in that time travel position.
Yeah.
But if to live it exactly how it is that time travel?
Oh, that's just like jumping the dimensions.
Jumping dimension.
No, but maybe it's
So
that's interesting. Guys. What's your thoughts? I know he's doing the spiritual, unlock your higher self, this woke stuff, but if you are dreaming of something in the past and it's accurate, could you argue it's time traveling? But then because you're sleeping, you'd argue against it that he's sleeping. So it's, I'm not really too sold on that one. This guy, though, this guy's interesting. Listen to this one.
Do you think time travel will ever be possible?
Not into the past. So into the future, yes. There's a calculation in one of my books with Jeff where we work out that so if you travel at 99.9999999, that's 8 nines % the speed of light, to Andromeda, which is 2.5 million light years away, and then turn around and come back again, then for you on the rocket, 100 years will have passed on the round trip journey, but 5 million years will have passed on Earth. So by travelling fast relative to people who are stationary, your clock runs slow relative to theirs. So you can travel into the future arbitrarily far into someone else's future.
I've heard other scientists talk about that. How interesting is that, guys? How interesting is that? So depending on how fast you're traveling, time is different for you than the place you're traveling from. So technically you are time traveling because you're in a different time to where you've left this from. Remember that, guys. That's important. That's really important.
Is time travel possible? It's kind of obvious to say it's possible into the future, because of course that's what we're doing, we're moving into the future. It then gets interesting because you say, well, why do we have to go into the future? Why can't I stop going into the future? Well, you can vary the rate at which you go into the future relative to someone else. For example, if I was to get in a rocket now, and let's say go to the Andromeda galaxy, which is 2 million light years away, and then turn around and come back again, if I go close enough to the speed of light, I could arrange it so I would age, let's say, a year on the outward journey and a year on the inward journey. But 4 million years would have passed on Earth. So I would come back on that journey 2 years older, but I'd arrive at the Earth 4 million years in the future. So that's special relativity. That's Einstein's theory published in 1905, not even the theory of gravity. So time travel is possible into the future, and you can vary the rate you go into the future relative to someone else by the way that you travel around.
Watch this then, guys. Watch this. If that's true, what they're saying, because I've seen a few people say this, if that's true, that if you could travel at a certain speed, that wherever you're going from is going to age different to you, imagine if that's what aliens are doing. So think about this, right? People come and people say, listen, order. I'm trying to get to something here. So when people say they've seen flying saucers and, aliens and they're coming back and all that kind of stuff, imagine if, technically, using this theory, aliens could be, technically, whatever was living here before us, or even us from the past. Because look at it this way, if we ever got advanced enough to travel at that speed and we went to another galaxy and we came back and 30 years have changed for whoever's in the ship, but hundreds of thousands or millions have changed on the Earth will be completely different. So the aliens who are coming back to us really might be just like, yo, we've only been gone 5 years, but, we've had a world-ending event in that time and ice ages and all that stuff and gone from the atom to the blah, blah, and we've advanced. Imagine that. Imagine if aliens all come back when there is sightings are literally just like, yo, bro, we're only here 2 years ago, man. We're the same. You lot's changed. Food for thought, innit? It's interesting.
Hello to everybody that is watching this video. What I'm about to say is going to be very hard to believe. If I was in your position, I probably wouldn't believe anyone saying this either. However, I can promise you that I am telling the truth. Basically what it is, time travel exists in the future. In fact, I myself am a time traveler. I was born in the year 2215, and in 2250 I traveled back in time to where I am right now, 2017. My sole goal is to tell people about the future. Believe it or not, convincing people about the future is much harder than it seems. Very few people believe you when you tell them that you are a time traveler. However, in the future, I got the chance to look back on the history of our world. I had saw where humanity went wrong. So with this message, I will try to steer humanity in a more positive direction. Even just the next 100 years is going to bring about a lot of... Hello to everybody.
I want to believe him. I'm not saying I do believe him, but I want to believe him. But I don't know if he's just, you know, some crazy guy in a basement somewhere who's lonely, who's just making up stuff for clout. I want to believe him. I want it to be true, guys. Can you imagine what that would do to the world if we could ever prove that? Oh, it would change everything. It would change everything. If I was a time traveler, and if he really was, I'd just say something that can't be denied. He'd need to tell us what the next big thing is in 3 years. Okay, guys, in 3 years, this is going to happen. Oh, you know that thing over there? That's going to happen. He'd need to come. What was that? There was a guy who did that. I don't want to butcher his name. Was it Nostradamus or something, who had all these predictions from all this time ago of these events in the world? But I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hello to everybody watching this video right now. I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but I can assure you I'm telling the truth and nothing but the truth. I'm a time traveler. I've been both to the future and the past. And I'm choosing now to come clean about my story and explain why I'm in the year 2017. My story begins in 2028. This is the year that time travel was invented. And
he sounds compelling. He looks like he's telling the truth. He does look like the type of guy who's like in some secret ops or something. He does look like it, but he might just be, you know, he might just be good at talking.
chose to be part of the top secret program to send people into the future. With some people in the project, they were chosen to be sent to the year 2100. I was chosen to be sent to the year 2200. And this is the furthest that anybody has been sent into the future. In fact, in 2028, time travel to the past had not yet been invented. We can only travel into the future, and we took a big risk. We didn't know if human civilization would still be around, but we did take the risk, and luckily, it was still around. And let me tell you, the world has changed far more than it could ever.
No more, guys. Only a little clip. Guys, what do you think, man? I really need to dig into this deeper. Pause. I really need to dig into this because I think it's fascinating. Do you think it's possible, guys? Have you guys watched any sciencey things where they're talking about, is it even possible? And what do you think, man? Drop your comments. If time travel was real, would you do it? If you got selected to jump into some kind of vortex and go 200 years in the future, would you do it? I'd be too afraid to do it personally, but I think the idea is fascinating. It's fascinating, guys. Guys, support, like, subscribe, share. You know, not everything's got to be gossip, guys. Sometimes I want to talk about stuff like this. It ain't always got to, oh, the Kardashians, oh, Kanye West is just, huh? Let's talk about something else, man. You tune into Guzzi's World.